How's it going, YouTube? Pat Mac here, bringing you a competitive guide for a new Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This is a guide for Pawmot, and we're going to take a look at how this Pokemon can fare in both doubles as well as singles. So let's go take a look at the Pokemon just from a basic standpoint here. Pawmot is an electric fighting type Pokemon with 3 really awesome abilities. It has Volt Absorb, Natural Cure, and Iron Fist. Volt Absorb is an electric immunity and will heal by 1/4 HP if it is hit by an electric attack. Natural Cure will remove any statuses if Pawmot has them, so like burn or sleep or whatever. And then Iron Fist. So Iron Fist is a increase to damage-based moves that are punching, so like Mach Punch or Thunder Punch, things like that. And most of the, like Iron Fist in particular, really supports the idea of this being a very offensive Pokemon. And we can see from the stats that it really is. Like 105 speed is solid. This gen has a lot of fast Pokemon, but 105 over 100 is a pretty good standpoint. And then 115 attack stat, which is pretty solid as well. Its defenses are kind of so-so, like HP, defense, and special defense at 70, 70, and 60. There are bulkier Pokemon in the game, so Pawmot really isn't going to fill that role as being a super bulky Pokemon, but it does have some offensive potential. So let's go and take a look at what kind of roles this Pokemon can fill for both singles as well as VGC. For singles, I think it's mostly going to fit as a breaker. I could see it being a pivot, like it technically has a Wish and Volt Switch, but its stats really don't support it to being that kind of setup. I think it's mostly going to be seen as a breaker. For VGC, it has a lot of the things that we look for in VGC. It has some really nice support options. It influences the pace of the game with some really nice speed control. Has some good presence on the battlefield. We'll talk about a move in one of the sets that's like, it creates a magnet toward Pawmot, and I'll talk a little bit more about that once we get there. But I think it's a really solid Pokemon, mostly going to be seen as a support set, but obviously with that attack stat, it can hit very hard as well, so it does draw some attention. So let's go and take a look at this set. I think it's mostly going to be Volt Absorb when we look at VGC. Having that immunity is just really, really nice. I think for the most part, we're going to see setups with like Fake Out and Nuzzle, and it has some other options for support in terms of like Armor, Eerie, and Pulse. There's a couple other ones. I think it has Encore or Helping Hand. I think both of those would be really awesome options for this Pokemon as well. I wanted to point out the item here, Lepa Berry. Lepa Berry restores the uses of a move when it runs out of uses. So like, if a move has 10 uses, 10 PP, and it runs out of all of them, then this Lepa Berry will restore that. That item is here solely because of Revival Blessing. It's a new move to Scarlet and Violet, and Pawmot is one of the Pokemon that has it. There's only one other, so it is a very exclusive move. And what it does is it revives a Pokemon that has been fainted. Completely new, never before seen ability that's available here in Scarlet and Violet, and Pawmot's one of the Pokemon that has that. And so Revival Blessing only has one use, so Lepa Berry, when it Revival Blessing runs out of that one use, that 1 PP, then Lepa Berry restores it, so it allows you to use it a second time. So I think that's a really cool option that Pawmot has for games. Being able to revive one of your really heavy hitting Pokemon or an unbreakable wall or whatever it is, I think is a really nice option for Pawmot. And so this is a set that's like purely designed around support. I want to show another set that also kind of fits into that little bit of supportiveness, but has a more offensive setup. So for this set, I mentioned Covert Cloak for this one. I think that this option, it stops Fake Out. It stops the secondary things from attacks, so being able to ignore Fake Out I think is a really nice option. This set also has Nuzzle. It forgoes Fake Out of its own, but Nuzzle's really nice. Double Shock and Close Combat are really, really powerful attacking options. And then of course we have Revival Blessing as another option as well. Double Shock is a move that is exclusive to Pawmot, so it has two exclusive moves. It has the Revival Blessing and Double Shock. And Double Shock is like a burn-up style move. So it's only usable by electric types, and when it uses this attack, then it is no longer an electric type. So that's just something that Pawmot can do. One thing that's kind of cool about this is that if you use it while you're an electric fighting type and then you Terra type into an electric, then you get a second use at double shock, which is a pretty cool niche option that Pawmot has for the game. And so this set I think could be more of a offensive kind of support set, still in that same kind of VGC double setting. The next ones we're going to take a look at are some singles sets, and like I mentioned, I think this is going to be a breaker set. So for this one I have Iron Fist, because we're going to make use of Thunder Punch and Mach Punch, with Life Orb being able to boost up our attacks. Close Combat, of course, is like super hard hitting move, and then Bulk Up as a way just to get a little bit more damage output. Mainly it's here because we want to get the extra damage boost, but of course it does increase our physical defense too. And then the next set I have for you is a Choice Banded set, and again this is all about just hitting things really hard. So I have Double Shock and Close Combat is really powerful option. Mach Punch to give us a little bit of priority, and Ice Punch because that will help us hit the ground types that potentially would try to switch in on Pawmot. Okay, so let's go and talk about some of the partners that I think that this Pokemon could have. Because of the electric and fighting type, I think that steel types that have a ground immunity are really good pairs for both singles and doubles. So ones like Corviknight, Bronzong, and Orthworm, all of those have ground immunities and are steel types, so they resist a lot of the attacks that might come toward Pawmot. Another option that I think in terms of like good breaking partners for this Pokemon would be Pokemon like Qianpao. Would be amazing to be able to hit the ground types that I think are mostly going to be wanting to switch in on Pawmot, like really bulky grounds. Or I guess bulky grass types could do it too, right? And then, so Qianpao would definitely be able to take care of those, right? It destroys grounds and grasses with that like crazy ice typing. I think Meowscarada could be a really solid partner for this as well. And I think Brambleghast would also be pretty solid. So I think that all of those Pokemon do a pretty good job of pairing along with Pawmot, and all of the Pokemon that I've listed here for the singles options. Well, I guess maybe the more offensive ones, so like Brambleghast, Meowscarada, and Qianpao. Those Pokemon in particular would make very good use of Revival Blessing. Because they're a little bit squishier, they're easier to take out. They can be brought in, break down a wall that would normally be very difficult to break down, and then get the Revival Blessing to come right back and then do it again. And they don't really need a whole lot of HP because they're mostly looking to OHKO or 2-hit KO switch-ins. So I think that this Pokemon's going to be really cool. I'm really excited to see how people use Pawmot. I think it's got a lot of really cool options. Double Shock and Revival Blessing are just absolutely amazing moves for this Pokemon. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how it gets used in both VGC and singles leagues. I guess ladder and draft league, which is mostly where I play. Let me know what you think about the Pokemon down below, and if you're interested in any Pokemon you'd like to see a guide for, leave that comment down in the comments below as well. Anyway, hope you have a great time, and if you'd like to see some more of my content, definitely stick around, like, subscribe, and all that stuff, and I'll catch you on the next one.